A day after the India Today expose on the Nehru government spying on Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's skin for close to 2 decades, his family is demanding declassification of all documents on the freedom fighter. Netaji's grandnephew Surya Bose will meet Prime Minister Modi during his visit to Germany. Now, speaking to Headlines Today, Surya Bose said that he will raise the issue of snooping with the Prime Minister in Berlin. Germany-based Netaji's kin has been invited to attend a reception hosted by the Indian Embassy for PM Modi. Surya Bose claims that he was snooped on by RNAW officials in Germany.
Now you're going to be meeting the Prime Minister soon. What is it that the family has so much faith in the Prime Minister? Do you believe that he is possibly the last person who could actually declassify these files that have been locked up for so long?
No, we had a lot of hopes, certainly, because the Manmohan Singh government had categorically stated, or his office, that they would not be able to declassify these files because we would have problems with friendly nations. But we are quite astonished to see that even the present government, Prime Minister Modi's office, has made the same statement, absolutely identical, which is quite surprising, I must say, but we still haven't given our hopes that Prime Minister Modi would be able to declassify these files.
Would you care to answer this question about which are these friendly foreign countries that the government of India has maintained for the last 30 or 40 years that our relations with will be spoiled if these revelations are made? Has this ever come up in conversations with the Bose family members that you've had? I mean, has there been any informed speculation even as to which countries there could be that the government is so worried about spoiling relations with?
I think that's a question you should directly ask the government of India, who they consider as friendly nations. I mean, I would, the USSR was friendly in the sense we mortgaged our country to the USSR. We got all our arms and Air Force planes from the USSR. But I don't know, I mean, which other country apart from the UK and Japan certainly. But I think the question should be targeted towards the government of India. They should answer who they consider as friendly nations.
Joining us now on the phone line is author Anuj Dhar. He's written several books on the death of Subhash Chandra Bose. Mr. Dhar, do you agree with the fact that it is time to declassify Netaji files?
Well, not only I agree, I mean, I've been, for past 10 years we have been demanding it, of course. And I think the time came much earlier. I mean, rather we're running late now. High time, 2015, we have this mission to Mars. I mean, sorry, how long do we have to wait now? I mean, these are like, heaven's sake, like the oldest file is of 1940s vintage. I mean, things need to change. And now the new dimension about the snooping, I mean, I'm beginning to, wonder about the Watergate scandal. I mean, this predates the Watergate scandal. Every scandal that we've heard of since the Watergate, I mean, we could just put on that gate word next to it. Now we need to, I believe, devise a new word because now this is predating Watergate by at least 20 years. So now every day the new dimensions are being added to this India's longest running mystery.
Mr. Dhar, so far the government has held that declassifying these files might adversely affect India's relationship with some of its neighbors and other countries. Do you feel that could be the reason that the government is hesitant about declassifying these files?
Broadly, two reasons, because, they did tell us, in writing, of course, they told us. The Home Ministry, which is the nodal ministry in the Subhash Bose case, they said, and the Home Secretary actually made that remark after having gone through the relevant records. He said it would lead to, quote, law and order problem across the country, especially in West Bengal. So I reckon that is the number one reason. Of course, there will be a problem within the country. You can imagine that in the last 2 days what has happened in this country. Just imagine this is all because of just 2 or 3 odd files. Now there are almost 200 files with the government of India and probably government of Bengal put together. Now if this much can result to this much, there's just 2 files. Imagine what would ensue if all the files are made public in one day. So first is the internal problem. Now this excuse of foreign relation, I think it won't wash. Well, even if, let's assume for argument's sake, something horrendous happened 50 or 60 years back, Well, I don't think that today's time Russia or probably the UK would be, any bothered about it.
Okay.
I think it's an excuse because you go and tell the court of law that you do this and it will adverse our relation foreign countries. Generally, the courts tend to not to touch that case. So I think it's a ploy to ensure that the court doesn't intervene in the entire matter.
Mr. Dhar, so far we know that
the internal problems are much more severe than the external problems. There will be some impact, obviously, of course, the kind of relations we've had from some countries. Russia, of course, will be there because I did ask the government of India in 2006 that they ever exchange any notes or did they ever ask the government of Russia or USSR about Subhash's business there. They refused to give me the correspondence and they said, no, we can't give you this national security thing. So there is, of course, that dimension, and we've known that even Soviet journalists, there have been stories ever since Soviet Russia fell apart. Russians have been talking about it, and there are, of course, I personally believe those statements to be true. Yes, there are records with the Russian intelligence services about Subhash Bose's case, but my problem that if my own government is not willing to declassify, how in the world, Mr. Modi is going to go to Mr. Putin and ask for their records? So the charity begins at home. We must first of all release our own files. We start with raw and IB, and then we move on to the MHA and finally the Prime Minister's office. Thereafter, we go to the Americans and the Russians and the British and the Japanese and tell them, you please come out clean, and we have to close this chapter and move on. But we cannot move on. This chapter cannot be closed so long there are so many files, lying in the Treasury, in the Home Ministry and the Prime Minister's office. So I think the ball is Mr. Modi's court now. So they must declassify, start with raw and IB, and you see the fun, So.
Anuj Dhar, many thanks for speaking with Headlines today. Let me now go across to our correspondent Kamaljeet Kaur Sandhu, who is reporting on the political slugfest that continues over this issue. Kamal, what is the latest that the political parties are coming up with now over this issue?
Well, definitely, Maha, as you rightly put it, it is a slugfest, and obviously the past has come to haunt both the Modi government as well as the Congress party. And remember, even as Nehru Gandhi family is being blamed for that particular Snoopgate, what is more surprising is that BJP's stand earlier, which was earlier to declassify the particular files of Subhash Chandra Bose, has obviously changed now with them coming into the government, and obviously they're saying this will create a further law and order problem. So yes, there are gives and takes in this particular story itself. But definitely the government at this point of time not really willing to come out and declassify those files as Subhash Chandra family is actually demanding. But the Congress is also on the back foot. They're obviously trying to voice a particular opinion as to why this was leaked at this particular juncture. So definitely both the Congress and the Modi government looking at a face-saving device at this point of time, and they're obviously not finding it. Subhash Chandra family is wanting to take this further, trying to meet the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Remember, he's on his visit abroad. So this is going to be a very crucial time, but definitely there are voices now which says that a lot of water has flown under the bridge, that this is the right time to declassify the files. The government at this point of time also saying that this will spoil the relations of India with its countries, with its good relations with the countries. And remember, names of UK as well as USSR already coming to the fore. People want to know what sort of role did these agencies, external agencies, really play as far as the family was concerned.
Kamal, but this has also given enough ammunition to the BJP to target the Congress.
Well, definitely, it's been a sticky point for the Congress party for a very long time, and BJP is not leaving any stone unturned. And remember, we've seen the likes of Venkaiah Naidu and other political leaders who are really coming out and blaming and slamming the Nehru Gandhi family, as also trying to say that the entire onus as far as snooping is concerned. And remember, freedom fighters being snooped upon, this is something which is simply not done, simply not taken well. This is obviously something which will go down in the history. Remember, we've all read in the history books to the contribution which was made, and obviously about his mysterious death. But the fact remains as to why the snooping was done, what were they trying to really achieve through the snooping part. This is something which is obviously going to raise a lot of eyebrows.
Right. Kamal, many thanks for joining us with those details. Let me quickly go across to Sandeep Unithan as well. Sandeep, even as Netaji's grandnephew Surya Bose gets ready to meet the Prime Minister, is there any chance that the new government might take a different stand as far as declassification of Netaji files is concerned?
Yes, there seems every reason to believe that this government is more keen than previous governments on declassification.
because if you, as you know, in the elections, this was one promise that was made by several political leaders, including Rajnath Singh and the Prime Minister. In fact, the Prime Minister has met Mr. Chandra Bose, who's the younger brother of Surya Bose, in Ahmedabad last year, where he assured them that the government would take steps to declassify the files. The family has, of course, been a little disappointed by the official responses from the government in the last few months, where they said that the Prime Minister didn't have the power to declassify files. And of course, the Minister of State for Home said that he could not release those files because it would spoil relations with friendly foreign countries. However, the family still lives in hope that the Prime Minister would actually overrule these responses and take this huge step of declassifying files that has not been done by any government in the last 40 or 50 years.
Sandeep, many thanks for joining us with those details.